great to see some familiar faces. It's been 4 years since I've been here, so it's nice to see that. My name is Blair Johnston. I'm the Product Manager for Outfitting at SSI. And I'm really pleased to be here. It's great to have this chance to share with you in person some of the things that we've been working on recently. One of the things I'd like to share today is a new feature that we've been working on for clash detection. And it's essentially a reinvention or a reimagining of what you may know of in ShipConstructor as interferences. It's essentially a new way of managing, an improved way of managing clashes in ShipConstructor as well as detection. Before I get into it, it's essentially a work in progress still. So we released the technology preview of this last winter in 2018 or 2.1. I'm just curious, I'm dropping out here. I'm just curious, has anybody had a chance to give it a try yet? Hands up? Okay. Well, I hope what I share with you today will give you, intrigue you enough to give it a try when you go back. So the things I'm going to be sharing with you today, some of them were in the technology preview that was released last winter. Some of them are not yet developed, they're not ready to release in the product core. So what this means is that what I'm sharing with you are some of them are plans. The plans can change based on feedback from you, as well as things that we discover as we go along the way in developing them. One of the things that I like to do is put a plug in here. Dennis mentioned it a little bit earlier, touched on it, was the wish list. And the wish list is a great way for you to provide feedback to us. Over the Wishlist 1.0, this allows you to actually enter your own wishes in there. And it's a way for you to leverage the community to let us know things that you think may be missing or that need attention in the product. And with clash detection right now, this is something that we're actively working on. I'm hoping to have it into the main product in our next release, R2, and then start adding some of the features that I'll be talking about in the follow-on release. So it's a perfect time to give it a try and then give your feedback to us. If you haven't used the wish list before, you can find it on Nexus. Just sign in and go to the wish list tab. If you don't have access to Nexus, then support tickets or email, but just please try it out and let us know what you think. So clash detection. So it's organized around 3 main goals. And they all have the orientation of making the finding and managing the clashes more efficient within ShipConstructor. The first one is trying to eliminate avoidable clashes while you're modeling up front. So you may have a stiffener that runs through a girder, or maybe you run a pipe through a plate or a piece of equipment, and to be able to address that right up front before you save the parts into your project and now have to rely on downstream processes to catch them. The next thing is for clashes that can't be handled directly in the model, to be able to track those inside ShipConstructor using the workflow and be able to route those to the people that need to deal with them. And then lastly is for the people that actually need to work with the clashes, for them to be able to find the clashes that they need to work with quickly, and from there to be able to get to where they need to go in the project as quickly as possible. Some of the other advantages of clash detection: it checks across the entire project. It's always checking the current state of the project. So as soon as somebody saves a part somewhere in the project, the next time clash detection is run, it will pick up that new part. And it's a streamlined workflow. It keeps everything inside ShipConstructor, so you don't have to necessarily email clashes around. You don't have to track them in spreadsheets. You find them in the product. So what is a clash? It obviously represents where 2 parts overlap physically in the 3D model somewhere. They're shown in drawings as interference of the 2 parts as a solid, and they're also represented in something called the clash palette, which we'll see in a moment. They're a proper part of the ShipConstructor project. They're saved when you save your drawings. And they follow parts. So if I find a clash in one drawing, and it clashes with a part in another drawing, if I go and open up that other drawing, that clash will show up in that drawing. So, and they also have a simple workflow to keep track of where they are in that workflow. So our first goal was about eliminating avoidable clashes while we're modeling. So if we can address clashes while we're doing the model, while we're putting together the 3D model, instead of saving those into the project, then we have to rely on downstream processes in order to catch that. So fixing them while we're modeling is far less expensive. So I'm talking about avoidable clashes here. So not all clashes are avoidable. Some of them you always have to route pipe through watertight bulkheads, or you may be routing large diameter pipe and it might go through a piece of equipment. It might be more effective to move the equipment instead of routing the pipe around. So we're talking about those where, yes, I can take that pipe and route it around the piece of equipment once I know that it's there. Or if I go through a plate and there's a lightning pole nearby, that I can take advantage of that lightning pole and route the pipe through that. So with our new clash detection, the feature that is our workhorse feature is called global clash detection. And what it does is it checks the parts in your drawing against all parts across the entire ShipConstructor project for clashes. It does this in the background, so you can continue working on your model while you're checking for clashes. You have the option to narrow the clash check by certain part types if you want to. And once you discover your clashes, it gives you a way to easily visualize what's clashing with your parts in your drawing. So we'll take a quick look here at global clashes in action. So you may recognize this as a drawing from the training project. So what I'm going to do here, the first thing I'm starting out is I'm going to open up the clash palette. I made reference to this earlier. So this is where when I find clashes in my drawing, this is where they'll show up. And you can see I hope that there's a name. It's showing the parts that are clashing and the drawings that those parts come from. This is also where I'm going to be managing clashes as well. Now I can run global clash detection. You can see showing up the command here from either the clash palette or as a regular command. Now I run it from the palette and you can see down in the bottom, well, it's being covered up. It's showing down in the bottom of the tab. In our process manager, it's showing the clash manager is running in the background. So while that's happening, I'm continuing on here to model my equipment model together. So jigging an equipment part here, putting it in place with an electrical panel, and you can just see a bubble showing up on the bottom. And what it's doing is it's telling me that it's found 4 clashes in my drawing. So it's come back, it's finished the process, but I can continue if I'm focused on what I'm doing my work, and then when I'm ready to actually take a look into those clashes, I can go back to the clash palette. The 4 clashes that I did the clash management now are showing here. So as far as my original goal was here was eliminating avoidable clashes, so I need to find out, can I avoid them? So the first thing I'm going to do is select the clashes in the drawing. So you can see here they're all connected to one particular part in the space. So I can focus on that part, and now what I want to do is bring in part views of the parts that I'm clashing. So in this case, there's some ducting that's going through this electrical panel. Now I can decide, do I maybe have enough room up top in order to fix this, so I can move the panel up, and now my clash is gone. I don't have to save it back, nobody has to find out that I've clashed with this ducting. And now I've avoided that clash, I've avoided the extra expense of going through a whole workflow. If I can't, if for some reason I need to consult with somebody else before I can make this change, or if another team has to do the work, then now I have to save the clash into my drawing and it becomes part of the project. So this moves us on I'm going to go to our second goal, and that's tracking clashes through the project. So when I'm talking about tracking clashes here, I'm talking about making them discoverable. So this means I don't have to know which drawings clashes are in. It doesn't mean I don't have to keep spreadsheets around. I don't have to keep track of emails where my clashes are. I can find them when I need them. That they have a workflow, and then I can see on the clash what the status of that clash is within that workflow. And that they're routable. So if I know who needs to address that clash, then I can set that on the clash and make sure it gets to them. And I may want to annotate the clash with notes like such as how should this be resolved, or other notes that I may have. In terms of the discoverability, that's going to be handled by the clash manager. So I'm going to talk about that again in a moment, so I'll skip that for now. In terms of workflow, it's handled with status property on the clashes. So you can see there's a simple workflow. When clashes are first created, they start out as new, and then as people do their job to resolve the clash can be updated to reflect where it is in that workflow. For routing and annotation, this is one of the things that's not yet been implemented in clashes. So if you try it out, this won't be there yet, but they will be addressed using UDA2 attributes. And this is another thing I'm curious about. When I say UDA2 attributes, is there anybody here who does not know what I'm talking about? So actually most people do. Okay, that's great. So UDA2 attributes, what they add to over UDA1s, they've been implemented in some, not all of the parts and stocks across ShipConstructor, just new ones. Accessories, drawings, I think, and a couple of others have them. The big thing they add to UDAs is they provide a type rather than just something you type in. You can specify type. So there is the traditional type, it's called a string attribute. It looks just like the old UDAs. But what it adds is this one called the list attribute. And this allows me, when I'm defining my attribute, to specify the list of allowable values that I can put in there. So it's no more freeform, no more typos, no more typing in creative values. I can set what I want to be the value there. So in terms of routing here, now what I can do is create an attribute and assign it to my clashes. I'll call it group here. And in that group for allowable values, I might have mechanical, I might have structure, electrical, whatever else. And now, when I know that the clash needs to be dealt with by that group, I can just set it on the clash. So annotations, that can be just handled with the regular scripting. So here's an example, defining a group attribute and setting. This is done for accessories, where it exists now in catalog. So I'm just defining gear structure, mechanical, electrical. So now I have the ability to find clashes. I'm being able to track them through my workflow. And now I've been able to assign them to somebody who needs to do something with those. So the last of our goals was for those people who do actually have to do something with those clashes, to be able to find those clashes that they need to work on quickly. So now this is the clash manager that I mentioned earlier. This is another piece that doesn't exist yet in the technology preview. But my expectation is, at the moment at least, that this is going to be just a mode of the clash palette. So whereas the clash palette, like other palettes, shows you data that reflects what's in the current drawing that you're looking at, the clash manager shows you clashes from across the entire project. And then I just simply filter it down to those that I need to look at directly. So perhaps if I'm a structural engineer, my job is to take a look at and assess new clashes that have been assigned to structure, then I'd be able to filter my list down to clashes with the status of new and the group assigned to structure, and then that's all that I'm going to see. Now the clash palette has been implemented using something we refer to, at least internally, as our new UI. I'm just going to call it our new table format here. And it allows us easier ways of manipulating the data that we have on our table. This is a video, so try to type it here. So here you can see I'm using the, just a familiar way that I can use is to sort columns. That's the old way you used to do it, bring all the statuses of one type together and I can see those. But with the new way we have, new tables, we can sort by multiple specific values, or we can use ranges of values with comparisons like, does it contain a certain value, does it start with this? For numerics, you can also use ranges greater than or less than. Another thing you can do here is you can sort group. So I'm grouping here by status and by drawing. So you can see I've got a new status. Under that I can see the drawings that contain clashes in the new status. And now I can actually see by drawing which clashes I need to work on. So now I can go straight to those clashes, and I can go from the clash palette or the clash manager. I can open the drawing that I need to get to do whatever I need to do with the clashes. So I've gone through sort of our three goals and how we address them using global clash detection, the clash palette, the clash manager. There are two other ways of finding clashes. One is local clash detection. This works, it's a simpler, lightweight form of clash detection. Global clash detection is great in that it works in the background, but in order to find clashes across the project, it has to go out to the server and get that information. That takes a little more time. The local clash detection works with what's at hand, and that's the parts in the drawing. So it's an option for doing a quick check between when you do global clash checks, for example. The last one is automatic clash detection. Now this does not exist in the technology preview. It's not been released yet, but it has been developed. It's essentially proof of concept stage at the moment, which is why we haven't released it. But I'm pretty excited about the possibilities of this. What it does is every time you run a command, it takes a look at all the parts that were modified as part of running that command. And it sends just those parts off to check those for clashes across the whole project. So you can use this in conjunction with a global clash check if you're starting in the middle of a drawing, or you can just turn it on at the beginning of a drawing, and it allows you to keep your drawing up to date in terms of what clashes you've caught in that drawing. So it's more efficient than running the global clash check periodically, and it allows you to find clashes within minutes of when you've actually created them in your model. So I might be modeling a whole system for piping, and I might get a few parts into it, and I run into something that I didn't see there before, I didn't know was there. Now I can fix it right now instead of modeling my whole system and then realizing I got to go back and redo a portion of it to account for this clash. So. Last video here. So this is automatic clash detection working here. And you can see I'm turning it on in the upper corner of the palette. So I'm just enabling it now, it's turned on. At this point now, it's starting to monitor what I do with that drawing. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to just continue on with what I do. In this case, I'm sort of repeating what I did in the previous demo of inserting another electrical panel. Now the command ends here. So that part's been added to the drawing. And at this point, there's no hint of it going on. It's just quiet in the background. That part's been sent off to go check against all other parts in the project to see if it clashes or anything. Meanwhile, I'm just going on and continuing my work in this drawing. So at some point here, I'm going to just do my stuff, and then now global clash detection. I may have the palette closed, or I may have it off in another window, but you can see here now it's just come back, and it's found this second part that I modeled. You can see the clash, the outline of the clashes in there. So we found those while I was going, so I can sort of say, stop, okay, what did I do here? I've got to do something about that. And then I can go through my normal process of, can I do something about this, or do I have to let it go downstream? So So as I mentioned at the beginning, clashes is essentially a reimagining of interferences. So that means interferences are going to be replaced sometime in the near future by clashes. So if you do rely on interferences as part of your workflow, you'll want to start taking a look at clashes right away and figuring out how you can integrate those into your systems. If you use Navisworks for your clashes, then give clash detection a try. You may find you might be able to reduce the dependency on Navisworks for that process. So bottom line, eliminating avoidable clashes while you're modeling, fixing clashes sooner when it's less expensive to do so. For those you can't eliminate up front, to be able to have a way to track them inside ShipConstructor, follow the long-term project and route them to whoever it needs to go. And then for those that actually have to work on them, finding them more quickly and getting to where they need to go. So also reduce dependency on Navisworks if possible. You're always checking against the live version of the project and the workflow inside ShipConstructor instead of emails. So any questions? Or probably just fine. Okay, so any quick question?
Yeah. When we have a project that gets split out, when one side receives a request or a merge, will it then automatically go run for checking clashes? Because they're not live until that point.
To be honest, I haven't checked work with clash detection across WorkShare yet. That's not comparable with work with. My guess is, and this is just a guess at this point, it will go with the project because it's following along with, as I say, it's part of the project. You can't explicitly separate them out though. Like you can't own clashes in a split project. So let me get, ping me, come to me afterwards and I'll double check on that with my team. But I'm pretty sure you won't be able to split them up. Thank you everybody. If you have any other questions, feel free to grab me later on and I'll be more than happy to talk to you.